Welcome everybody. I am so excited to be sharing the next 45 minutes with you today talking about one of my very favorite topics, search engine optimization, or SEO for short. Now I've had the incredible fortune of having almost a 17-year career in digital marketing. And as you can imagine, there's a whole hell of a lot to learn over 17 years. One of the things I've learned is that digital marketing can be really overwhelming. That's not what we're going to do together today. We're going to keep today as actionable, down to the ground, as impactful as we possibly can for you. So now's a good time to grab a pen, paper, whatever you like to use to take some notes, because this is going to be full of tips and tricks for you to go grow your business and have the impact that you're here for. We're going to jump in with what I call my 3-step SEO jumpstart formula. Now, I mentioned over my 17 years, I've learned a lot about digital marketing. One is that it can be really overwhelming. Two is that there's no shortage of ways to drive traffic to your website. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's Snapchat, there's this new thing out there called Parler and TikTok, and deep breath. There is a lot of ways to drive traffic to your site. But if you're here, it's because you're not your average entrepreneur. You're looking for high ROI on your time. You're looking for results that will come for years to come, not flash in the pan revenue. And you're looking for ways to innovate, grow, and continue to create and have your impact. There's only one channel in digital marketing that meets all of that criteria, and it happens to be my favorite one, SEO, search engine optimization. So what is this SEO thing I keep talking about? Well, I like to share a very fun, slightly personal example to explain what SEO is and what SEO is not. This is the best kid ever. This is my godson, Chance, and he is such a soccer fanatic. This kid literally lives, eats, and breathes soccer. In fact, don't judge. He watches YouTube sometimes over dinner, and it's always soccer videos. This kid just loves it. He plays competitive club soccer. He's also a teenager, almost 14 years old, and he's a little bit of a gear junkie, unfortunately for me and my pocketbook. So what does this all mean? This means that this kid needs new soccer gear what feels like every few months. And one of the things he loves to shop for is soccer cleats. Now, let me use this example to explain to you what SEO is not first. All right, so what we have here is a Google search results page for the search soccer cleats. To the untrained eye, this looks like a normal search results page. To the digital marketer, to the entrepreneur, to the small business owner, there's a few really key spots that we can be using to grow our businesses. Let's take a look a little bit deeper. The first spot is what we call the Google Ads space. Now, this used to be called Google AdWords in the day. It's also called pay-per-click, or PPC. And the reason is if I were to click on any one of these ads, that advertiser would have to pay Google for my click. This is how Google makes so much money. This is not what we're talking about today. We're not going to talk about Google Ads because we're looking for those free, yet really impactful ways to grow our businesses. I love Google Ads. It's just not what we're going to talk about today. One more thing on Google Ads. We know these are the ad space because there's a tiny little ad label next to every single one of these. Again, along the top of the site and down the right-hand side. What we are talking about today, when we talk about SEO, is everything else on this Google page. So there's this thing called the map pack. This happens when Google deems that your search has local intent. So Google thinks because my search is soccer cleats that I might want to transact with a business locally. So they're going to show me this map and 3 websites underneath it. I love the map pack for small businesses because on a mobile device, when somebody's doing this search, that takes up the whole screen. You can get a ton of clicks to your site by just showing up in these 3 spots. So this is what we're talking about. This is free traffic. And the other space we're talking about on the Google page is everything else below that, the organic results. This also is free, and this also falls under the SEO umbrella. Okay, so we just went through what SEO is and what SEO is not. Now let's start to put some pen to paper here and get real deep into the exact nuts and bolts of SEO. One thing to note, SEO is a very complex topic, or at least it can be. What we're going to do today is give you just the critical SEO knowledge that you need to drive more web and brick and mortar traffic, to overcome your competitors on Google, and to fill your calendar full of appointments if you're in a service-based business, phone calls, and of course, revenue. Again, this is a 3-step SEO jumpstart formula. Let's dive in. Now, before I give you the actual action items here that we need to take, I want you to be able to trust me. Let me show you some of the successes that this formula has helped drive. It's helped drive over $250 million in annual e-commerce revenue for a very popular, very well-known public company. It's also helped create a 300% increase in traffic to over 100 UGG stores. And for small business owners, it's helped do some wonderful things. There's a clothing retailer here in Arizona. She attended one of my workshops where I shared this formula, and she was able to double her business in, I think, just about 60 days. Now, I'm not here to promise that by doing these 3 things, you're going to double your business, but it's also not out of the realm of possibility. There's also a hypnotherapist that has gone from the page 2 of Google before he attended my workshop to the top of page 1. And he stayed there for the last 11 months. Actually, he stayed there just a little bit longer. It's a little out of date. He stayed there the last 12, I think about 13 months at this point. I've also helped a brand new startup go from 0 to over 500,000 in just their first 6 months in online revenue. And then finally, a well-known sustainability startup has gone from just 5,000 in monthly revenue to 150,000. I don't share any of this to brag or to try to impress you. I share this with you to simply illustrate that if you come meet me in the middle and you come take action on everything I'm gonna share with you, you will have success. It's inevitable. Okay, I'm gonna breeze through these next 2 slides. These are just some illustrations of the successes that some of my students have had. We'll keep on moving though, because I think you get it at this point. All right, now let's start to get into the nuts and bolts. How does this SEO thing actually work? This is where it gets real fun. So first step is Google has these things called spiders. They're also called robots. What these do is they go out and they crawl the entire internet. They crawl the entire World Wide Web. I think that's why they're called spiders. And when they're doing that, they're doing one of 2 things. First of all, they're looking at new information that they don't already know about. They're trying to find that new information. What are those new web pages that have gone live? What are those new businesses that have launched and therefore entire websites that have gone live since they've last crawled? What are those new YouTube videos and Twitter tweets and so on and so forth? They literally are crawling the world's information to find new stuff. And when they do, they need a pretty systematic way to organize that information. The way they organize that information is what we call the algorithm. Everything is powered by algorithms these days. We know Facebook and Instagram have theirs. Google, of course, has its own algorithm. And let me stop here and just illustrate one fact. I think it's going to serve us well when we move forward through these 3 action steps. Google, we covered this already, Google makes money off of its ad revenue. But in order for people to click its ads, they need to have people actually using its search engine. In other words, Google's product is that search engine results page. And it needs to be really highly relevant for us as users if we're going to trust it and if we're going to continue to use it. The more we continue to use it, the more ad revenue Google's going to make. So Google has put a ton of energy, ton of talent, literally the world's geniuses work on this algorithm to make sure this algorithm is better than what Bing can offer or DuckDuckGo or any of these other search engines. And when this algorithm is working the way it should be, man, Google maintains its market share and it makes a ton of money. Okay, so this algorithm is what we need to know as marketers, as business owners. It's what we need to know so that we know what to do in order to get Google on our side. Here's the thing about this algorithm though. There's over 240 different things that we could care about for SEO. In other words, Google has said, hey, here's 240 different things that our algorithm is built on, and that's how we decide how we're going to rank a website. Now, did I just give you a to-do list of 240 different things? No, thankfully. When I do SEO for big brands, we care for about 60 of these factors. For small businesses, there's 5 that I consider to be really mission critical. And what we're going to talk about today are the 3 that are going to give your SEO a really nice jumpstart. All right, let's dive into these 3. The first step that you need to care about, the first action you need to take, is to know what your keywords are. Now, that might be really intuitive for you, but here's the thing. Keywords are essentially the currency. Keywords are what make the SEO world go round. If you have the wrong keywords, you're going to get the wrong traffic. If you have the right keywords, you're absolutely going to get the right traffic, and that's what we want more of as business owners. You need to know what people are typing into this Google box in order to find you. It's also helpful to know what people are typing into this box in order to find your competitors and the category and the products and services that you offer. And I'm going to share with you some tools on how to actually do this in just a moment. But let me share first this example. This is the site of a hypnotherapist that I was doing some consulting with last fall, and his site is beautiful. You can tell he's invested some money into this site. He even invested a little bit of money into some SEO. And John is his name. So I said, John, tell me what it is that you do. What's your flavor of hypnotherapy? And he said, cool, Katherine, let's go to the hypnotherapy applications page. That was the first moment I cringed. What the hell is a hypnotherapy application? Is he going to help me fill out a job for a job application form or something? Like, what is, anyway, so I let it slide. Didn't say anything. And I said, cool, you do a whole bunch of things. Which ones are your most popular services? And he said, at this point in time, it said smoking cessation. Now, since we've consulted together, he's changed it to stop smoking. Fantastic. But I said, okay, John, second cringe moment. What the hell is smoking cessation? And I knew what it is in the back of my mind. I knew because in high school, let me straighten my tie here. In high school, I was the head of the anti-tobacco task force, which is a really fancy name of just going into 5th and 6th grade classes and telling them the dangers of smoking, which really meant I got out of class and I was all for that. So I knew what it was. John knows what it is. That's how he might refer to it if he's talking with his industry peers and colleagues and maybe at some training events and things like that. But I told John, I said, hey, I venture to guess that literally nobody is searching for a smoking cessation. And he said, not true. That's what we all call it. And I pulled up a tool and I said, look, 8 times more people are searching how to stop smoking. In other words, John was missing out on potentially 8 times more clients just because he had the wrong keywords on his website. In the LA area, there was 8 times more people he could help, which is the whole reason he got into hypnotherapy in the first place, is to have massive impact. It's the whole reason you're getting into the business you're getting into, is you want a high level of impact. And the right keywords are going to get you there. The wrong keywords, man, they're just going to hurt your performance. Okay, so what are the right keywords for your business? Well, there's a few criteria that I like to go by. The right keywords are keywords that are highly relevant to the thing that you do, the business that you have, the product that you sell. That's pretty intuitive, but I'm going to show you here in just a moment an example of some keywords that would be easy to get wrapped into, but they're not quite the right ones for a business. Criteria number 2, it uses the customer's language versus industry jargon. That's the example we just shared with John, the hypnotherapist in LA. Number 3, keywords that are actually getting searched. Of course, we need to focus on keywords that are actually getting searched, but I bring this up because I can't tell you the number of times in my 17 years I've had the best keyword idea in the entire world, and I run it through one of my tools, and 0 people a month are searching it. There's no value in having a great keyword idea if nobody's actually going to search it and come to your website for it. And then number 4, usually keywords are more specific, the right keywords rather, are more specific than they are general. Okay, now let me share with you an example of what a good keyword is versus a really terrible keyword. Now, I'm pushing 40. I'm going to be 40 in just a few months here. And as I get older, my body likes to have a whole lot less fun than it used to. And what this means for me is my body doesn't like gluten and dairy like it used to. Now, pizza is one of my favorite things in the whole world. And unfortunately, I just can't eat it anymore. So instead of being able to eat it, I just like to torture myself with examples in workshops like these. So if I owned a pizza restaurant in Flagstaff, this might be a really great keyword for me. Pizza in Flagstaff, right? Very straightforward. It's exactly what I do. It's in the customer's language, and it's actually getting searched. I ran this through one of my tools, and 500 people a month at least are searching this keyword. What might be a really terrible keyword is something like pizza recipe or how to make a pizza. This is a really terrible keyword because it's not what I do. It's not what I offer. Here's the thing though, it's very attractive to go with these slightly less relevant keywords because 30,000 people a month are searching this one versus 500 people a month that are searching pizza in Flagstaff. And if I'm an entrepreneur, my mind's probably working along the lines of, yeah, of course I want to get in front of 30,000 people instead of 500 people, but it's 30,000 of the wrong people, which means when they come to my website, they're not going to have a great experience. They're not going to find what they're looking for. And when people come to my site over time and they have enough bad experiences, Google's going to be able to know that. And because they need to protect the quality of their product, they're going to drop me in the SEO rankings, and I'm going to get a whole lot less traffic. And that is just a recipe for disaster. Okay, so that's an example of a great keyword versus a really terrible keyword. So the next question becomes then, how do you even find what those right keywords are for your business? Now, if we were sitting together in a room, I'd actually love to pull up a chair next to you and walk you through this. So because we can't do that, take some good notes here. You're going to be able to do this after we spend our time together. What you're going to want to do first is take 60 seconds, grab a pen, some paper, and you're just going to do a brain dump. And what you're dumping out on this paper is all those keyword ideas that you can possibly come up with in about 60 seconds. All the crazy keyword ideas, all the really good ones, all the ones that you know people are searching because maybe they've told you that. And as you're doing this, put a star by your top 3 favorites. These are going to be the ones that feel resonant to you. They're the ones that I get a cool butterfly feeling in my stomach when I'm onto something. Some people get, the goosebumps on their arms or the tingly on their spine. Whatever that is for you, when you feel that, put a star by those. The ones that you starred, we're going to go use here in step number 2. Step number 2, you're going to go to a keyword research tool. Now, my preference is a tool called the Moz Keyword Explorer. I have no affiliation to this company. It's just what I've fallen in love with over my 17-year career. There's other really awesome ones out there. Ubersuggest. If you do run Google Ads has a pretty good keyword tool. But for today's sake, we're going to use Moz. So you're going to go to moz.com/explorer, and you're going to create a free account. Here, that's the best part, is this isn't going to cost you any money. When you do that, and I'll show you here in the next slide an actual screenshot of this, but when you do it, you're going to plug your top keyword idea into Moz. And what Moz is going to do is spit back literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of closely relevant keyword ideas. This is the gold that we're mining for here when we're doing keyword research. So what are all those keyword ideas I didn't already think about? Moz is going to tell you that. And here's what Moz looks like once you go there and you start to work on it. So at the very top of the Moz screen is where you're going to put your keyword. You're going to click the blue magnifying glass, and you're going to pretty much ignore everything else on this page. It is a whole lot of really geeky, really cool SEO metrics that I love to learn about and I love to know. You don't need to know about those for today's sake. And instead, what you do need to care about is this one final link on the page called See All Suggestions. You're going to click that, and that's going to take you to those hundreds and hundreds of keyword lists. And you're going to be able to filter through that and figure out what's relevant for your business based on the 4 criteria we talked about. And you're going to be able to delete the ones that are not relevant for you. Okay. So now that you've done your keyword research, and congratulations, by the way, that's a huge step. But all that we have at this point in time is knowledge. We don't really have anything that's going to jumpstart our SEO quite yet. We need to go put this knowledge into action. This is step number 2. We're going to go put these keywords into the content of our website. This one is so critically important. Where exactly do we go put those right keywords? Well, one of the most important places you need to put these keywords is what's called your page title. Of the 240 different factors in the Google algorithm, Google has said, hey, page titles are the #1 most important factor. And I'll show you what a page title here is in just a moment, but it's literally the title of your page. The reason Google puts so much importance on it is because it's kind of clue #1 for Google that the content on your page is about XYZ. If you have a really terrible page title, you're working pretty hard to confuse Google. And Google doesn't like that. They're just not going to spend that much time on your site to try to figure it out. And they're going to go on to the next one and rank whoever does give them a strong signal, rank them above you. Okay, so page titles, we get that they're really important, but what the heck are page titles? They show up on the web in 2 places. They become the blue link that somebody clicks when they do a Google search. That's place #1. Place #2 is it's literally the title of a page. Now I'm using a pizza, we're going to keep rolling on our pizza example here. This website that I'm taking a look at is Pizzicletta. It's a really popular pizza restaurant here in Flagstaff, Arizona. Amazing pizza when I used to be able to eat it. Amazing stuff, but their SEO is terrible. And at some point I should probably help them, but then I lose my example, so it's a little bit of a double-edged sword for me. Okay, let me show you what a really great page title is and what a really terrible page title is. So we're going to keep rolling with Pizzicletta, these poor people. This is their page title. It says Pizzicletta, Flagstaff's wood-fired pizza. Now, it's not the worst that I've ever seen in the world, but there's a few things wrong with it. They're telling Google that the most important thing that they want to rank for is Pizzicletta. Because they put that first in their page title, they're saying, hey, Google, whenever somebody searches Pizzicletta, show me for that. Which makes sense. That's who they are. But here's the thing. It's in their domain name. It's in their business name. If they're members of the Chamber of Commerce, they've listed it there. Google has all these other places it can pull from to know that you are your company name. We don't want to use that precious real estate to tell Google we are our company. Google's already going to know that. Instead, we want to use that precious real estate to tell Google about the things they might not know about our business. So they're telling Google the most important thing is their brand name. That's great, but Google's already going to know that. It's also not what we call a keyword-rich page title. This means they don't have a lot of really good keywords in there. They have Flagstaff, they have pizza, that's okay. but they also have 70 characters to work with. And because they're not using all 70, they're missing out on some keyword opportunities. Now here's a much better page title. This says, best pizza in Flagstaff, Pizzicletta, Flagstaff's wood-fired pizza favorite. Here's why this one is so much stronger. We put the primary keyword first. The primary keyword is the most important thing that we want to show up for. So in the case of this example, it's best pizza in Flagstaff, and I would even argue it's just pizza in Flagstaff. We put that first, and we put the company name after that, right? So now we're telling Google, hey, show us for best pizza in Flagstaff, which I guarantee is getting searched way more times than Pizzicletta. So just that one change alone is going to boost up our SEO traffic. We also were able to work in some variations of the keywords. Because we used the full 70 characters, we were able to stick, so we've got best pizza, we've got Flagstaff, we've got Flagstaff's wood-fired pizza favorite. All those are keyword variations. We're sending a really strong signal to Google that not only are we about pizza, but we're also about some really good pizza, right? And then we've got our branding towards the middle of the end, Pizzicletta. And then finally, we are giving users a compelling reason to click. This is just good marketing. This isn't a digital marketing tactic. This is just a good marketing tactic. We need to kind of toot our own horn about what our competitive advantage is. And in the case of Pizzicletta, they're one of the only places in town that does wood-fired pizza. So we put that in our page title because that's interesting. That stands out among all the other dozens and dozens of pizza shops in Flagstaff. Okay, makes sense so far? All right, that is step 2. This seems rather simple maybe to you. I cannot emphasize the importance of finding those right keywords and actually doing something with them. And in this case, we're gonna optimize our page titles. Now, this is a simple 3-step formula, so I'm not gonna tell you all the other places that you could go put your keywords, but just as a kind of bonus here, bonus tip here, you're gonna wanna put your keywords in the actual text of your web pages. So if your homepage is all about topic XYZ, make sure it says topic XYZ based on your keyword research that you did in step 1. Okay, let's keep going. So far we've talked about keywords. What are those right keywords for your business? I taught you how to do some keyword research. Step 2, we actually did something with this knowledge. We put it into action. That's optimizing your content, specifically your page title. Now step 3, we're gonna pour some gas on this fire that we just got burning, this little SEO fire that we just got burning. We're gonna dump some fuel on that here with links. Links are important for 2 reasons. One, it serves just a functional purpose. It's the actual web, right? It's the World Wide Web. It's the web that's created that Google can then go crawl through to find those new pages. That's cool. The cooler thing, though, is that it helps determine how Google should rank a page in its search results. So I mentioned this algorithm a few times. One section of the algorithm has to do with a site's popularity. When one site links to your site, that's essentially a vote for popularity. If we all go back to our high school days, we're voting prom king, prom queen, right? The most popular kids tend to get voted those. Think of your website as the next prom king or prom queen. We need to get a lot of votes to our site. In other words, we need to get a lot of links to our site. So the more links that you have, the more votes that you have, the more popular and the higher the likelihood is that you're gonna rank really well on that Google page. Here's the thing with links. I have seen sites do really terribly with keywords. They've done really terribly with their page titles, but because they have a lot of links, they still rank #1 on Google. That's the importance of links. And I've also seen the flip side. They have the best keywords in the world. They have it in all the right places on their site, but they have no links. Google just doesn't think they're that popular and they're not gonna rank them that well. Okay, so what are some ideas that we can use to drive links to our website? Before I jump into about 6 ideas that I've got to share with you today, there's a word of caution I do wanna share. Never, ever buy links. We've probably gotten those emails, and they're pretty persistent folks, of folks saying something like, hey, for $500, I will go build 50 links for you in the next 30 days and get you to the top of Google. It sounds really attractive, and the truth is it actually does work. But here's the thing, it violates Google's webmaster guidelines. And because it violates their guidelines, and because Google needs to protect the integrity of their product, which we've talked about, Google has the world's geniuses working on its algorithm. It's gonna find that out, and yeah, it might work in the short term, but long term, they're gonna discover that you spammed its system. We call these black hat tactics. It's gonna discover that, and it's gonna kick you out of the search results. And boy, is that just a death sentence for a small business owner. So never go buy links. Instead, here's 6 ideas on ways to go build what we call white hat links. First one of these is just do something that's newsworthy. This is just good marketing, right? Do something that's newsworthy, go toot your horn about it, and get some press coverage. And I'll share with you a tool that actually helps do this kind of at scale. Guest blogging, that's exactly what it sounds like. You're going to go be a guest post or a guest author on another person's blog because you're a subject matter expert on the thing that you do. And when you write this blog post, you're going to include a link back to your own site and probably some links to some other sites too, but that's going to help build a link for you. Number 3, I love this idea, memberships and associations. This one is one we don't even think about, but almost every single one of us belongs to some type of membership, whether it's a licensing organization, a networking organization like a chamber of commerce. I also belong to a couple digital marketing industry associations. And on every single one of these association websites, we have the opportunity to create our own profile pages. And you better believe, for good SEO, you need to include a link on your profile page that comes back to your own website. Super low-hanging fruit, but a big payoff there. Number 4, industry partners. Who are those folks that you have relationships with that would be willing to link back to you? Is it clients? Is it vendors, distributors, JV partners, affiliates? The list can go on and on. Who are those folks that you have a relationship with already that could link back to you? Or who are those folks that you would love a relationship with? And maybe you host a webinar for them, or you write an article for their newsletter or something like that. And those all can include links back to your website. Number 5, sponsorships. What are those organizations out there that for a small donation are willing to list you on their sponsor page and you get that link back, right? And then number 6, I love this idea, scholarships. You can go create a scholarship fund, get listed on university websites, and create some powerful links back to your site. Now here's the thing with this idea. You don't need to go create a $10,000 scholarship or a $5,000 scholarship or even a $1,000 scholarship. It can be something like $250, $500, whatever makes sense for you. But what you're going to do is create a page on your website with all the scholarship details, how people can apply, the criteria they need to meet, et cetera, et cetera. Once you create this page, you're going to reach out to your local universities, and you can even think beyond universities. It can be trade schools, vocational schools, community colleges. Every single one of these has a scholarship database. You're going to reach out to somebody who manages that database and say, hey, I've got a scholarship I think your folks will be interested in. They're going to list you. And here's the thing about a link from these types of organizations. University sites and trade schools and community colleges and things like that, they carry a lot of clout in Google's eyes. They are really well-respected organizations. And when you can get a link back from one of these types of domains, man, is that going to ignite your SEO. Now, this is a tactic, scholarships, this is a tactic that was used quite a lot in about the mid-2000s, 2010, 2012, and it became a lot less effective. Because people found it less effective, they stopped doing it, and because they stopped doing it, it's become effective again. So definitely some food for thought there. Now, my 2 favorite are these top 2, PR types of links and guest blogging. Let's dive just a little bit deeper here. We're going to go into the PR types of links. Why do we want to do these? Well, obviously, we need to be doing something that's newsworthy for our business in the first place. And when we do that, we can get published in some meaningful press with a link back to our site. Here's a tool that I found to be pretty valuable in my own experience. This is a tool called Help a Reporter Out, or it's called HARO for short. And what HARO is, it's literally just a marketplace between journalists and subject matter experts. And it connects these two to each other. So me, as the subject matter expert, as the business owner, can go sign up for HARO, and it's completely free to do so. And I'll say, hey, HARO, I'm a subject matter in topics X and Y and Z. And then HARO says, cool, I'm going to email you a few times a day with journalists looking for information, looking for quotes, looking for subject matter experts on those very specific things. I'm going to get these emails, and they look kind of like this. I'm going to be able to filter through them and say, hey, I think I can contribute something to that journalist's article. I connect with the journalist, and then I get my link. Now, it's not as simple as that, but it's also not very complicated. So HARO is a wonderful tool. Guest blogging. What is guest blogging? We covered a little bit about it. You're just going to write a blog post that's hosted on somebody else's blog. That's pretty relevant to the industry that you're in, of course. Why would you want to do this? Well, they need content to keep their audience engaged, and they don't always want to be the one creating that content. If you've ever written a blog post, you know that sometimes it can be kind of a pain in the butt. So they're always looking for guest bloggers. You're a subject matter expert on that blog that they need content for, and it's going to get a link back to your site. Now, I have created an action guide that's going to walk you through these 3 steps, and more details on that here in just a moment. In this action guide, you're also going to get a whole script that you can use for this guest blogging tactic here. This script is literally going to have just the things that the placeholders called out where you need to swap in your own information, and that's what you can use to reach out to guest bloggers to get an article written for you. So in order to download that script and the whole action guide, you're going to go to coachkatherinedigital.com/moonshot. Enter your email address, and I'll shoot that action guide and script over to you right away. Okay, let's recap what we've talked about because we've covered a lot of ground. And by the way, I'm so proud of you for sticking with me so far. We have covered a lot of ground in a topic that can be overwhelming, and hopefully you found it really actionable and down to the ground and approachable for you. So let's quickly recap what we need to be doing to grow our businesses. First of all, we need to find what our keywords are, and we need to go find those right keywords for our business. You can do that with a tool like Moz. You can do that with a tool like Ubersuggest, Google Ads tool. There's tons of great free ones out there. Point being is use some kind of tool to find out what those right keywords are for you and run them through our filter, run them through our 4 criteria that we had talked about. Number 2, you need to go do something with this knowledge. It's not enough just to know what your keywords are. You need to actually go put those keywords onto your website. And then step 2, we talked about your page titles and how critically important your page titles are, right? Go optimize your page titles. We use the Pizzicletta example of what a really terrible page title is and what a really good one is. Go update your page titles. And here's the cool thing. It'll take you maybe less than 10 minutes to actually go do this, believe it or not. You don't need to be a web developer. You don't need to be a designer. You don't need to know HTML. It's actually a very simple thing. You can just do a quick Google search for, if your site's built on Squarespace, you could just do how to update page title, Squarespace, or how to update a page title, WordPress, or whatever platform your site's built on. There's millions of support articles that are very good to actually walk you through how to do this. All said and done, it's going to take you 10 minutes or less, and it's going to have a huge payoff. Now, with these 2 steps, we just got this awesome little SEO fire burning, right? Step number 3 is getting those links. That's really going to ignite and jumpstart your SEO traffic. What are those? We went through 6 ideas, but the sky's the limit. What are all those other ways that you could go build links? The number 1 way to not build links, though, what did we say? Do not go buy them. Please, please, please do not go buy them. Now, I can't control what you do and what you don't do, but that's just my very strong word of caution, and I have seen it really hurt people. So don't fall for it. Okay, so those are our 3 steps. Hopefully you have learned quite a bit. Hopefully you're able to take some action on this stuff. Now, we did cover quite a bit of ground, so I did create this action guide I just mentioned. You can download this at coachkatherinedigital.com/moonshot, and it's going to walk you through everything we just talked about. And it's meant to really be a reference guide that you can use over and over and over, and eventually it's something you can hand off to your team as your teams grow and let them do that. Really meant to empower you to do some amazing digital marketing so that you can create that consistent, reliable, long-term web traffic and therefore revenue that we all need. So I look forward to seeing you over at coachkatherinedigital.com/moonshot to download this action guide. And I'm also on social media everywhere as Coach Katherine Digital. So I'd love to stay in touch with you. Let me know how I can help you as you continue to grow your business, and let me know how it's going for you as you implement these 3 steps. Okay, that's what I have for you today. I wish you the best of success. I'm so looking forward to your future. Take care. Be well.